Good evening, everyone. This is Tala with Drive-Thru Therapy. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I really don't even know why I'm recording this. I mean, it's just been roaming around in my head, and it probably should stay there until I figure out what to do with it, but I just couldn't help myself. I was like, why? I might as well just sit in and record this. And if someone hears it, oh, well, you know, you get to hear the babbling and the rambling of my mind. But about sometime the beginning of this year or last year, or the end of last year, there were two big celebrity figures that had committed suicide, and they were back to back. You couldn't miss them. One is Anthony Bourdain, who was a well-renowned chef, traveled the world and would try different foods all around the world, and this would be taped and was made into a series where people can watch. And the other person is Spade, who had an empire of apparel and purses and, you know, accessories. I mean, she's really big in the fashion industry. Even her brand was so sweet. Like, it's a very sweet brand. It's not dark and morbid. It was very light and flowery and, you know, nostalgic. So it's very interesting that those two people that presented a very different view of their world, that was complete contrast of what happened to them, which is what they end up doing is committing suicide, and at the peak of their careers. So why would someone do this? Why would someone who has everything in the physical world at the peak of their career all of a sudden think that they want this to be over? Why? Now, I'm sure there's a lot of things to explain that, those situations. For example, drugs, alcohol, that good stuff. Sure. But think about it. People with drugs and alcohol, not all of them end up dying. Many do, but people that are abusing and drugs and alcohol get into recovery. They can, I don't know, but variations of that doesn't always have to end up in suicide. But these two people did. May they rest in peace. But we are going to talk about them tonight. Or maybe we're going to talk about, not them necessarily, they represent something. They represent people, and we're part of those people, by the way. We have that human capability, just like they did, to lose sight of things, lose perspective. When we have so much physical stuff and we don't think it's enough, we can't see any light in our darkness. That comes from one word, and one word only. It is called dissatisfaction. I don't know how to be satisfied. And what does satisfaction mean? It means contentment, a sense of well-being. I even want to take it further and say satisfaction mean I have more than enough. I am fulfilled emotionally. I don't see lack. All I see is the cup runneth over. I see the possibility. I see satisfaction. Satisfactions and abundance. That's what was missing, I think. I'm guessing, of course. Why not? Why not? If it serves another person for me to guess, why not do it? As a therapist, I am back to back with patients every day who live in the richest country in the world, who have everything, even the ones that may be somewhat on the low income side or even low income, they still have so many resources that all around the world people do not have. They have cars, we have buses, we have rec centers, we have parks, we have clean filtered water, hot water, we have Walmart, we have the ability to read whatever book, see whatever movie we want. Nothing is banned, nothing is censored. And we're still not happy. We still can't see. We have a lot. We can't sit in it and be satisfied. And it's a human experience, believe it or not. somewhere along the line, I think this is a milestone that we must tip over to the next level. Because if we only just base our satisfaction or our happiness on what we acquire, what we accomplish or achieve, it'll never be enough. It'll never be enough. It'll drive us crazy because that's what we're training our brain to do, to ask for more. We're training it that it needs to meet a goal, and after it meets that goal, it needs another one. So it keeps bringing goals, but we're missing some important element, and that is the element of the human element, the internal human element, yourself, your mind, your soul, your higher self, whatever you want to call it. You're missing that part. You're not connecting to that part. It's always been there. It's always there. We can all agree that even in psychology, we have, the brain, the actual brain structure, which is more treated chemically, right? Doctors or psychiatrists will give medication to handle the brain structure itself. That's how they show you, hey, you might have low receptors in this area, and so we'll give you a medication to feel a little better or whatever. But do not deny the component called the mind component. You have the brain component and you have the mind. And the mind component is always around, has been around, always. We have names for it. It cannot be medically proven or measured. The mind is not tangible, which makes it difficult for us to acknowledge it. We think it's voodoo or something. We think counselors have voodoo. We think people who, we actually call it people that treat the mind, right? Like counselors, therapists, social workers, whatever, psychologists. Those people that are trained to treat the mind are, it's called alternative medicine. Best way to describe it. Alternative medicine. And so it is not accepted in our society. It's not accepted. We think that it has to be a pill that is the direct, immediate form of treatment. And although a pill has its place, that's not within my scope to tell you what the pill does or doesn't do. But I can tell you what the mind does and doesn't do. And if we don't have a peaceful marriage between the brain and the brain structure and the mind, then we're missing out. We're missing out, people. Your mind is an amazing thing. Your mind, your soul, however you want to call it, it's there. We can't measure it, but it's there. And a lot of times we miss that relationship on the inside. That relationship that is in the knowing, that has magical capabilities, that has freedoms that are endless. We miss that component. So I think when it comes to those two famous people, Anthony Bourdain and Kate Spade, somewhere along the line, everything that was achieved just wasn't seen as enough. I thought that maybe they could have placed all their bets on the outside. All that they needed to develop was outside of them. If I got this right job, if I made that much money, if my store is all around the world, if I accomplish these big tasks, maybe I would be satisfied. But like I said, it'll never be enough. If it's outside of you, it'll never be enough. You're training your mind to see that the rewards must be tangible. They must be outside of you. At which point you're training it to always seek more. But when you're training it to find it on the inside, to find this mind component, to find that type of engagement with yourself, you're setting yourself free. You don't need much of anything. You don't need much of anything. You just need to sit in there and enjoy the hell out of it. That's it. When you train your mind to see you have more than enough, you can now sit in satisfaction. So I need to let you know that we trained our mind to seek achievements, to seek the right people, the right marriages, the right associations, which will never be enough. It'll never be enough until you sit in a state of satisfaction. You train your brain to sit in a state of abundance, that everything I got is great, is more than enough. And when my brain thinks of the present right now and is at peace with it, is satisfied with it, that I have more than enough at this moment. I don't need to think of what I need to have in the future. I don't need to go to the past of what I didn't have. I'm the happiest in the moment. The happiest. The most abundant. Never dissatisfaction in the moment. As long as your brain and your mind is in the moment. Both. So do not forget that mind component. When you're disconnected to you, which is disconnected to your mind, to the other life that resides inside of you, that mind component, right? You'll lose it. You'll lose it. You won't defend anything that's in there. You won't want it to live. You won't think it's worthy. So this is what I tell you. My advice to you is create a relationship with yourself, the inside of you. Seek the mind. Seek the mind component and creating a relationship with yourself. A pill won't solve that problem. It won't. It will not teach you how to have a relationship with yourself. It will not teach you about how to recondition your mind to look within for satisfaction rather than outside of you. It's about time I did this talk here because it's so important. It's so important. Those two lives that have inspired so many people had thought that it wasn't enough on the inside to protect themselves. They thought they didn't have anything on the inside worth saving. So connect with your mind, connect with your soul, sit with yourself. And if you sound nasty to you, if you sound horrible about you, then who the hell are you living with? Because that's who you're with all day long. Who are you living with? Reevaluate, check yourself, straighten yourself out, go within. I promise you won't regret it. And within does not need to be conditional on more money or more partners or the right car or the right kind of food or the right body shape, the right weight, the right length of hair. None of this is important within. None of this is important within. It's unconditional when you love you. Unconditional. So when you love you, you do nice things for you. That's the outcome. That's the side effect. And it also goes the other way, that if you don't love yourself, if you have no connection with you, that the result will also be rejecting you, rejecting yourself, and you'll be miserable. It'll be miserable. You'll be rejecting yourself all day, every day. Self-defeating, never enough, never satisfied. Worst place to be. And today, I don't even want to be happy. I want to be satisfied. That's the ultimate goal for me. Just state of satisfaction all day, every day. I like that. And today I know it's possible. I'm not talking about the brain structure. I'm talking about the mind. My profession is all about the mind. I hate to tell you, my profession is not fully evidence-based. It is not supported a lot by research. It's not validated by the medical world. We are an alternative. We're an alternative medicine. The primary medicine would be medical treatment, which is sad because we've been around since ancient times. The mind has been around since humanity. The fact that we reject it is sad. I don't need research to tell me that I have a mind, that I have a soul. I don't need research or numbers or anything to tell me that there's something inside that is beyond measure, that is infinite. So I hope this was helpful. And if it wasn't, oh well. It was helpful to me to talk this out. Thank you guys for listening in, and I appreciate you. I do. Please take care of your mind and the relationship that you have with it. I don't want one more soul to not defend itself because it thinks it's not worthy enough. Oh, sad. Beyond sad. Beyond sad. So, every soul is worthy. And it needs to be unconditionally so. It doesn't need to depend on what I look like, how much I weigh, how much I earn, whether I'm married or single. That's a beautiful thing about the mind. It's limitless. That's why the external will never be enough. Will never be enough. on the inside, you'll have plenty if you train it. If you focus on the internal world, your internal world. Thank you so much. This has been an episode of Drive-Thru.